Goku makes his debut in blue, being able to outdraw any other deck in the game and have incredibly powerful high rolls. Welcome to Archetype 101. I'm Espira and I'll be breaking down Blue Halo Goku. We'll be going over what the deck aims to do, example deck list to get you started, and then some gameplay to see it in action. Without further ado, let's get started. Goku is a blue leader released in Raging Roar. He's a typical draw type leader that awakens at 4 life. Once awakened, Goku gains the ability to rest mode a card on the field to gain 10k on defense for a battle, assuming you have 7 or less cards in hand. He also draws 2 cards on attack and puts a card from hand on top of his deck. This ability is incredibly powerful in being able to draw deeper into your deck on swing than any other leader in the game, and by setting up the top of your deck. The top of deck setup is exactly what cards like Orange Star High School are looking for, which is a field card that will guarantee that Goku can use his Activate Battle, and late game can cheat out Satan City cards from the top of the deck. One of those options being 4-cost SR Gohan, a powerful 30k with the ability to bottom deck 2 3-drops from the board. If your opponent's cards aren't in range, combine Gohan with the power of Hercule, which can reduce the cost of a card on the board by 2 if you have a Satan City on top of the deck. When it comes to Halo Goku, you have to dedicate a good amount of your deck specifically to the Satan City cards. You don't have to, but it is better because obviously with the leader ability, you can stack the top of your deck and you get a lot of benefits there. You get things like Sharpener, which if the top card is Satan City, you get to use a extra card with a reduced cost of blue. Really solid when you consider that you can then do things like play the high school for free, or alternatively, you can use You Prefer Girls with Short Hair, which will allow you to draw 3 cards and then top deck 1 from your hand, assuming you have 3 Satan Cities. So then if we're looking to do this and get some of the best card draw in the game, then we need to lean into having some Satan City cards. So that's why we're including things like Erasa. You have Hercule, which is able to reduce cost and allow us to be able to get things off the board, as well as Videl. In terms of our top end, the Satan City top end is Gohan, which isn't crazy, but can bottom deck 3-drops, and Hercule can also bottom deck a 5-drop. Attached to a 30k body, that is super solid. And then look, after we've got that, which is a sizable package, but isn't everything, we have a lot of room to flesh out the rest of the deck. We're looking at Crit Vegeta to be able to apply some pressure, and then Vegito to be able to reduce cost off rip, which allows us to chain really nicely from Vegito into Gohan if we need it. And then on our top end, we have our powerful things like our Vegito Secret Rare, we have Vegeta Double Striker, and a 1 of Goku Black to round things out, as well as a Zeno in case things get any crazy. I'm also a believer in Sickle. Some people have been opting out of Sickle, but I really like just having additional ways to be able to deal with 4-drops, you know, between the Black Secret Rare, between Jiren and stuff like that. Just having that in the back pocket to be able to deal with boards that got away from me, I think are a really big deal. At the end of the day though, we also run the powerful Peel Off, because guess what? Peel Off in combination with Videl to allow us to just keep on looping Earthlings over and over and over again is in itself a really strong game plan in the early game and even into the late game if we get to a simplified board state. We've got a game here against Yellow, which can provide a little bit of an annoying matchup, specifically because they can keep your board stunned down. And when they have things like Boo, it can make it hard to answer. So we just have to keep that in mind. Also, this will be the only game we cover with the deck. I'm not personally a fan of the deck. I don't love playing it. I think it just takes a little bit too much to get going. It's a powerful deck. I just don't have the desire right now to dedicate a bunch of time into playing it at the moment. So here we're just gonna go for our swings and get it early. I like it defending early, but Halo Goku gets a bunch of benefits from being able to use his ability to put stuff on top of the deck. So he's one of the few leaders where actually being awakened is a bit of a better position for him. But of course you can just do the blue thing of defending early and then playing for the late game. So it's really a balance between understanding your matchups and knowing what you should choose between defending or taking. Here opponent's playing a little bit slowly, so I don't necessarily mind going out of my way of taking some damage. Here they're going to play the promo Vegeta rest mode, our Sharpener, and then attack into it. That is perfectly fine with me. So from there, we have a few options. I do want a Vegito, and I consider whether I use the energy marker here or not. But then I realize, hey, we actually can just cycle some cards, which is really nice. So here we can go attack here and cycle away the Peel Off. And then if our opponent was going to not let us get through with that, we could just Videl. Here, well, I don't know if we're going to attack or not. We do have the opportunity to be able to cycle cards in. And Videl on defense is effectively a 30k before you lose card advantage, because she's netting you a draw. Here we're going to get the Peel Off back. We're going to get the swing. For free one time, she'll replace the card that she just used up on defense, which is 30k on defense. And then if you survive after that is where you start to lose out cards. So if you're playing a game of attrition against Videl, you just have to keep in mind that it'll cost multiple cards worth of stuff to be able to make things happen. So here it's essentially free because if we get to swing with Videl again, we're going to be able to replace that card once again. So we're feeling pretty good about replacing it here. Opponent does have 1 energy though, which does allow them to energy absorption if they would like to. It's a bit of a waste in my opinion, because you probably don't mind us like me attacking you to be able to awaken you, but that's totally fine. And then they got rid of a Vegeta as well to combo a wave. So here we're going to swing out. We do find ourselves a Star High School, but I'm just going to opt to go and play Vegito here because it positions us, if we draw a Gohan, to be able to deal with like a 4-drop if our opponent decides to play into that. So and we're going to not attack because if our opponent plays a Majin Vegeta, obviously that can get in the way also. It looks like they're going pretty deep into the card pool for the Wicked Soul stuff. So we do have the Deborah into the Yakon, into the Babidi Spaceship. And this is where it can get really annoying, where Babidi Spaceship in combination with like 4-drop Goku and a bunch of different things can really make it annoying for things like Videl to be able to sustain multiple turns of value. So there's a very good chance we're going to have to swing a lot of the game without having to rely on that. Here we are in a pretty good position to go ahead and Gohan, which feels really nice. So we'll see how much of our opponent decides to commit onto the board. And obviously they will get a free play also, so that is something to keep in mind. Videl could be decent into the late game, but is also 0 combo. So that's the only thing with Videl, is just balancing how many of them you play because of the 0 combo cost. Even though your aim is to play them, drawing them when you need combo power can feel really rough. So here, this is actually what I did on purpose. I wanted to swing because I wanted to bait out the Yakon so that we have the opening to be able to play the Gohan. So here we've got Gohan. We're going to bottom deck the both of these. Clear board feels pretty good, especially with kind of the amount of attackers that we have here. So 30k swing, opponent is just going to take that. And then we have the opportunity here to swing with our leader and just get a draw. And even though our board is stunned, they are still Satan City. So there's an opportunity here between the Videl, between the Gohan, and the High School, that next turn, if they just get stunned, we can still use short hair to be able to draw additional cards, which is really nice. So depending on what our opponent can do here, they ended up to charging the Golden Frieza. And I'm not usually a fan of charging Golden Frieza in these matchups because there's a lot of opportunities between the Double Strike Vegeta, between things like the Vegito, that you have an opportunity to be able to get rid of them on board, which can be a little bit tough to do. Of course, you can stun them down, but or just playing them out preemptively and then not being able to allow blue to get those big aggro turns. So here we're finally going to be able to awaken. And then, of course, we need to mitigate our 7-hand size. So opponent here goes to 30. We're not looking to go to 3, especially with blue. It's one of those things we're saying at a high life total is to your benefit. Our board is completely stunned down at this point, but nevertheless, we can get some slick plays here with the double striker if we wanted to. We could also sickle and then go into double. You prefer girls with short hair, which is really sick. And this is just additional sickle value, which is really cool. And a reminder, this field card does count as a Satan City on board, which does mean we actually have our triple to be able to draw a lot. So we'll start with the sickle and then see what our opponent decides to do. We could have played Gohan here. I only realized afterwards that had we charged something else, Gohan would have put us down to having 7 card size when we played him. So arguably probably the better play, but depending on what our opponent does here, okay, so it looks like they take it. So at the end of the day, actually, we're in a pretty good position here by just doing girls with short hair to be able to draw or net ourselves 2 cards, which can be really solid to set up for the double strike next turn. So we do that once, we do it a second time. Of course, if we had Sharpener, we'd be able to do it for free, but he kind of got rid of the board a little bit early. But now we've netted so many cards and we're so ready to be able to swing into our opponent going into the next turn, especially depending on how many of these cards are going to be able to swing over in the next turn. So here we got to swing into our Videl, and we just let it go. There's an argument that we could have protected it, but if our opponent plays a Majin Vegeta, it gets rid of it for free, plus 25k swings. However, it does look like it's just going to be a Majin Buu. Swing on us. We are completely happy with taking this card. We'll take whatever additional combo we can, because right now we're facing an 11 card hand versus our opponent's 8 card hand. I do not mind this. And now with this Majin Buu play, we can protect our Vegito, knowing that even if our opponent plays a card off of their leader ability, they're only going to keep one of our cards in rest mode. So we'll have at least an additional attacker to be able to force additional cards out of our opponent's hand. Yep, so here's the vanilla Vegeta. And then with Spaceship, we see that he actually decides to hit the Vegito, which is surprising. The Gohan is definitely a better target here. You'll be able to force additional cards out of the hand. So we'll just end up swinging with that there. That is a take, so I guess we're in a really free position here at this point to be able to do some damage here. So swing with the leader, probably just leave it as is, especially with that Vegito draw now. And that's where that Goku ability is so strong, because like, yes, you put the card at the top of your deck, but if you end up playing an Eraser, you bottom deck the cards that you don't want. And you're digging too deeper, which can like help you fix your hand, which is a pretty big deal. So here we've got Vegito. We'll bounce that back to hand because it can be comboed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We've got one swing here. We're going to go ahead and combo up until we have a 7-card hand size to be able to then restand him afterwards if our opponent didn't take it, but our opponent did just take it here. Halo Goku can dig an incredible amount of cards, and I barely showcased the amount of card draw and kind of board control that you can really get with this deck when you really get the full Satan package loaded in by having like your sharpener on the board and being able to cycle over and over girls with short hair with Videl. So there's a lot of really powerful loops and a lot of decision trees that are available with the deck. So if you're someone who loves that type of play, it's not really my kind of thing for the kind of payoffs that you get, but if you love being that full advantage type deck with the power that blue provides on its top end, Halo Goku is a fantastic avenue to be able to dish out some fantastic gameplay. That said, catch you guys on the next one.